Today's episode is sponsored by ENIAC Computers.
Welcome to Back of the Envelope.
Uh-oh, I've run out of room on the back of this envelope. I'm gonna have to flip it over.
Welcome to Front of the Envelope Calculation Theater. So to make computers, you need two different elements. Copper, which I have at 120 a minute, and oil, which I have at 240 a minute. Now, the copper, I'm going to need to smelt it all using 4 smelters, but I'm also going to have to combine the outputs of the smelters into one continuous stream, because the smelters are on one level and the rest of the machinery is on a different level. It's part of how the land is laid out. So I've got 120 ingots of copper a minute, and I'm going to have to split that up two ways, but one way will be we'll have 80 ingots a minute, and the other will have 40 ingots a minute. Yeah, it's one of those things where you split into thirds and then merge 2 of those thirds. Now, the 80 ingots a minute is going to be used to make copper sheeting. I'm going to need 4 constructors for copper sheeting in order to do that. And then I will merge them into 2 pairs of 2. Now, the other output of 40 ingots a minute, that's going to be split up in 2 ways and be used to make cable. You know how cable is. You got to make wire first. And I'll keep those separate for now. Now the oil, I'm going to need to refine it into plastic. And a byproduct of that is heavy oil residue, but I'll deal with that when the time comes. Now it's going to take me 8 refineries. Fortunately, I know a place where I can put them all. That's relatively nearby. But I am going to have to run the oil out a really, really, really long way. Fortunately, since it's pipeline, you don't have to render a bunch of little items on it like you do a conveyor belt. Then as to the refineries, I will merge them into 4 pairs of plastic. Now, this is all going to make sense right now, because I can take the plastic from 2 of those pairs, combine it with the 2 pairs of copper sheets, and make circuits that way. The proportion should all work out. Then I'm going to take the circuits and use them to make computers. And computers require the same amount of plastic as circuits do per manufacturer, and the cables. One constructor's worth of output each. I mean, yeah, I'm going to have to overclock the constructors a bit for the wires and the cables, but when the dust all clears, this factory is going to output 5 computers a minute into a box, which, well, I ran out of room on the page here, but you get the point. Now, what about the heavy oil residue? Well, it's coming out at 80 a minute. I can refine it into fuel at 53 1/3 a minute and fill one of those really big industrial fluid buffers full of the fuel. Now, as to the fuel, well, I'm sure I can think of something. I am beat. I have never been this beat putting a factory together. This is probably the most spread out factory I've ever put together because of how far apart the oil node and the copper node are. I mean, right now I'm at the copper node, and it'll put out 120 a minute. I gotta split that into 4 smelters. Then I gotta move the output of the smelters all the way down to a couple of processing centers down there. You can't really see them, but they're split into one-third and two-thirds, and one-third of the copper goes to make wire, which goes to make cable, and the other two-thirds goes to make copper sheets, which go to make circuits. Now, circuits need plastic, and that's where all these refineries come in. You can sort of see the chimney tops there. The refineries... Oh boy, I should have expected that. The refineries take the oil, which you can kind of see that long pipeline that comes from the oil node, and it takes 8 refineries. Half the output of that, half the plastic output, I should say, goes to make the computers directly, and the other half goes to make the circuits. The cables go to make the computers, the circuits go to make the computers. So I got like 2 manufacturers down there. You can't really see them, and there's a box for the computers, a big box, and a big tank, the first I ever built, for not the heavy oil residue, but the fuel which I'm refining. There's like another refinery there for the heavy oil residue, because I'm refining it into fuel. Because fuel, well, it takes up less space, it's easier to use. Okay, so now that I've finished explaining all this, I'm going to go after a purple power slug right here. Wait a minute. It's diagonal. I gotta make it actually facing me like that. There we go. Now the reason that, well, I always need power slugs, especially since there are actually 2 research items which need a full stack of 100, and I got one of them. 1 full stack. But the other one, I'm sort of quarter of the way to. So, alright, load up some rebar here. So I'd like to, well, I'd like to conserve power slugs in general. But in particular, I'm willing to go to a lot of lengths to get a purple. Oh boy, oh boy. There we go, purple power slug, like the one sitting up there. I have to use temporary buildings to build that. I wish I knew if I was. Okay, yeah, I think I heard that. That does mean I'm hitting it. Okay, yeah, that definitely means I'm hitting it. I'm totally hitting it. I am not out of ammo yet. Oh boy, insult to injury over there. Look at that. Okay, I can't get off this thing. There we go. But you gotta retreat for a bit. I'm not in that bad condition, though. I seem to remember doing something kind of similar to this with that one oil node. Maybe both of them. The one I built the power plant on. Hoo boy, just in the nick of time. Okay. Job's only halfway done though. There is another thing I gotta deal with. Sort of see it show up. Oh, okay. Should have been all of them. That should have been everything. Now we can finally focus on getting that purple power slug, which is way up there. What the... I'm glad I used that inhaler. Thought I saw it. Okay, well this is the less powerful of the two, so it's not so bad. I think I did sort of glimpse it. Okay. Go. I'm climbing up this thing, but there's somewhere to land. Alright, fine. I guess what I'm going to have to do is build another temporary structure. Put that over here. I gotta land right at the tip there, which I don't think you can actually land on because it's too narrow. So there, put this one up closer. Yeah, there we go. Totally worth it. I did have to use a power slug. I did have to use some power slugs in order to get the ratios right for building computers. But not that many of them. Let me just... I'll have to go all the way to the other end and turn this thing on. And that would be the other end of the pipeline. Let's make a nice padded landing. There we go. Yeah, they're the manufacturers right there. Well, that's one of them. There's the other one. Gotta go all the way around these things. Let's get rid of this thing. I didn't really need it. Go for a swim. Okay, and there's the switch. Well, here we go. Got the oil extractor running. What is these pipelines? They're all... It's just so uncertain, you know what I mean? You're never really sure if they're working until you see those things on the sides of the pipelines. Yeah, these things. Now I shouldn't need that much head lift, because this pipeline goes down as much as it goes up, at least round about that. But it does go further up overall. So I've decided. So I added a pump in the pipeline there. There's the oil. It's being distributed among the 8 refineries. I'm wondering if it's getting enough head lift there. Looks like it is. Get to program these things, did I? No. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that always gets me a little unnerved for a bit there. It's 'cause with liquids you're never really sure. But yeah, here come the plastics. There's nothing else coming through right now, though. I'm guessing it's because never mind. Yeah, we're getting some cables there. And some sheeting up there, I think. Let me just climb up this thing. Yeah, you can. Yeah, I just glimpsed it. The thing is, these materials have a long route to travel, and that does kind of cause delays. Maybe a bit of build-up back there. So until the sheeting reaches the assembler, you can see it isn't there yet. Until the sheeting reaches the assembler isn't going to start. But it is on its way. Yeah, I think the circuits are going to be the last thing to be made, and therefore the last thing to reach the computer manufacturers. Okay, yeah, there we go. There's the other one, it's running. So while that's happening, let me just go down here a bit. Yeah, it's putting out heavy oil residue at a really weird ratio, but I can't really do anything about that. Maybe I can make it so that it takes slightly more than 80 oil a minute. That way, there's no backup. Yeah, I mean, it'll be a little suboptimal, but at least there won't be any heavy oil residue being stuck in there. Okay, and now we're making our first computer. Look at yeah, there it is, and it'll go all the way down here to that big box. I am so beat. Yes, I know I sound like a stuck record saying that, but it stands. It does. Let's see, how much? 5334. Okay, round that up to 54, and then I'd have to divide 2400 by 54 to find out exactly how long before that tank fills. In the meantime, though, going to go back. And I do have a couple of things I can use for advanced aluminum production. And then there's nuclear power. I suppose I ought to start thinking about that, even though I've got, like, plenty of power left from the oil. I've also got to think about automating radio controllers. I'm pretty sure I'm going to need a lot of them. Not to mention changing around that that aluminum factory, so it's a bit more conducive to making aluminum casings. Yeah, casings. There we go.